this is Ross.
And this is John Travolta Cruz.
And this is Tom Travolta Cruz.
Yeah. And
we're from cheapwatchreviews.com. Hey, that rhymed.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I don't understand rhymes. It's just one thing, one ability I don't have. I don't get it. So we are going to review the Invicta Pro Diver today. Very, very popular, almost iconic status watch among many collectors, actually, or such as ourselves.
Right. I think, you know, the things that contribute to this watch's popularity is its resemblance to the Rolex Submariner. It's called, or often referred to as a Submariner homage, because it's an homage to the Submariner, and it's low price. How much does this watch cost?
Well, it retails for a pretty shocking $300, but can be had for under $100 regularly, like on Amazon or even our little store. So yeah, it's one of the best bargains in the business, right? Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. So you'll notice the sweeping second hand, so it is a automatic self-winding movement, much like the Rolex. Obviously not as smooth as a Rolex, but you're paying for a fraction of the price. Let's talk about a few of the other details that are also similar to the Rolex Submariner. The style of the face is almost identical. The applied loomed indices with kind of the chrome outlines, the Mercedes hands, the Cyclops here, and the unidirectional rotating bezel. These are all things that look very, very similar to the Rolex Submariner.
Now we have a 40mm case. The case itself is made out of stainless steel, and it is both brushed and polished, which actually gives it a nice look. The bracelet is your typical oyster style bracelet, which is quite popular among dive watches, and we have a stainless steel clasp with engraved Invicta logo on it. And at this price, we wouldn't expect to have solid end links, and we don't, but that's all right. So on the opposite side of the crown, we have the Invicta name engraved, which I don't personally like that much, but I mean, to each his own, and some might like it. On the back, as you can see, we have a display back case with engraved Invicta Pro Diver and what have you written on it. So do you want to talk a little bit about this as an actual dive watch?
Yeah, so this is actually a watch you can go diving with. It has 200 meters of water resistance, and some of the things contributing to that obviously are the screw down crown, which unscrewing it doesn't feel great. It's a little grainy, but again, under $100, you can kind of let that go. You'll notice that there's a little bit of decoration on it. And I'll note that typically for a more affordable dive watch, you don't get the display case back. You know, that's one of the things that you don't see too often because it's harder to make water resistant.
And it's screw down too. Well, I guess it would have to be as a dive watch, right, but it's pretty rare at this price point.
Right, so there's a lot of really nice things about this. You know, the accuracy and the movement is pretty nice. It's actually a Seiko movement.
The NH25A.
Yep, NH25A, which is, you know, Seiko's in-house movements are quite nice. The accuracy is pretty good. I think you timed it at plus minus 10 seconds a day.
Yeah, it really wasn't too bad at all. And actually had it, I took it swimming and took a shower with it. So the water resistance seems to be absolutely fine. There's no condensation whatsoever. The accuracy remained really strong. So I actually wouldn't hesitate to go on an actual dive with the watch. It's quite good. But in our experience with wearing this watch, I found it personally very comfortable. How about you?
Yeah, I found it to be comfortable too. It's a nice size, it's a nice weight. It's not really heavy, so if you like heavy watches, then, you know, maybe this wouldn't be for you. But, you know, the bracelet feels pretty good for you know, being pretty cheap. You know, you can kind of hear it. It's a little rinky. The non-solid end links, the hollow end links, you know, you'd think that wouldn't be all that great. And then, you know, the clasp itself, you'll notice it's really hard to open.
Yeah.
And just kind of stamped steel, you know, the machine, just not all that great. It looks okay, but just kind of how all these pieces work together, not that great. But again, for the price, it's you know, about what you'd expect. So, you know, hard to knock it for that.
Well, I'd have to say actually that the head of the watch itself, the bezel, the crown, just all the details, to me is more indicative of a more expensive timepiece. But the bracelet is what really gives away the watch's, I guess, truly intended price range, because it is very light. It's kind of tinny. Despite having solid links, it just doesn't feel nearly as solid as even the Pro Diver's bigger brother, the Grand Diver, which for a few more dollars gets you a very, very substantial, heavy feeling timepiece, but at the penalty of having the classic, again, the Submariner homage style.
Yeah, I think overall, if your price point is in kind of the less than $100 range, I can't think of any other watch that's an automatic that you might want to go for an actual dive watch. I mean, the closest thing would be a Mako, which is a bit more expensive, maybe a bit more refined, but again, more expensive.
Well, and I guess if you're going for the more of the Rolex look, the Mako is slightly different. So that, I mean, to me, I think that's almost better, but to some, the classic look is exactly what they're going for, and that kind of iconic Cyclops on the front, it's, yeah, it's quite nice. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on real quick, just to show you what it looks like on a 7 and a bit inch wrist, and this is just a pain to get the clasp undone. It is a little bit stiff, but I'm sure it would loosen up with more use. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, it fits my wrist quite nicely with a 40mm size. It's not too thick, so I wouldn't really hesitate to wear this with a dress shirt, with jeans, with whatever you want. It doesn't look tacky, it doesn't scream tacky, but the thing is, with the lume, I think you can even see here that you can see that it has a tint of green in it. So I mean, I personally don't really like that as much as something a little bit more subtle. And the other negative aspect is that it just doesn't get as bright as, let's say, even Seiko lume. Yeah,
the lume just isn't that great. You know, it's better than nothing, but it's nothing to really get excited about. But overall, you know, like we say this a lot, you know, for the price point, it's just really, really great. And, you know, if the bracelet and the clasp and all that really bother you, you can buy an aftermarket one for, you know, a little bit more money and really have a pretty incredible watch.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, so for the price, we absolutely recommend this watch. So thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.